Yo, if Kristaps comes back as Buff Staps, it's gonna be a problem. Let me just put that out there right now. Welcome, BDF 44 coming at you. I haven't done enough research on Dallas as a team, so I'm not gonna get into a full-fledged Dallas Maverick conversation. But I just saw a picture of Kristaps Porzingis, and he's lifting. That dude looks like he's put on serious weight, serious muscle, and I think it's safe to say people have forgotten. You know, in my mind, and I may have said this in a video or two, I got Kristaps and Luka as one of the top 10 duos in the league. And I haven't done enough to, really thinking about it to say where exactly I have them within that top 10, but they're up there. They're in there. And I don't know how long it's going to take them to get to gel as a team. I don't, like I said, I haven't even really looked at the roster. I just saw the picture and just came on here. But if Dallas can put together a solid roster around those two, you're looking at a team that could really make some noise in the future. Now, making the playoffs this very next year one with those two, with Luka in year two, I don't know if that's realistic, but I think maybe 38 to 40 wins is on the horizon for that squad. Just assuming what I know about that duo in and of itself. So I just wanted to get up here and say, look, Kristaps, I've been rooting for Kristaps since he was drafted. You know, he was one of those guys when during that particular draft, I was paying very close attention to the draft, and looking at all the players in the range because the Lakers had the second pick in the draft that year. And I was trying to figure out for myself if I wanted to take Okafor or D'Angelo Russell. And I never wavered from that. I ultimately landed on D'Angelo Russell. But I knew that Kristaps' skill set, his height, was probably can't miss stuff. I think the only issue was they didn't have enough footage of him because he was from overseas, et cetera, which I thought was, it was fair. Because when you don't have a lot of footage, and the guys that have not really refined themselves, he hadn't put on a lot of muscle because he was moving kind of slow in the video footage that I saw, playing the perimeter a little more than I'd like a big man to play. So my thing was, I would take him with the fourth pick or the fifth pick, but I wouldn't take him in the top three. Boy, was I wrong. And I remember when he was drafted, after the Lakers took D'Angelo Russell and Philly passed on him, I remember saying, Philly shouldn't have did that. When they took Okafor, and mind you, this is somebody who was settled on Okafor. I would have been happy taking Okafor that day. But when I was sitting there watching the draft, and I was listening to them talk about Kristaps' skill set, and I was listening to them talk about Okafor's skill set, it became very clear to me that Okafor should have been the guy that got passed on, and that the Knicks got lucky in taking this dude. Now, did they handle him properly? They didn't build around him. They traded him prematurely, in my opinion, even though he asked out. I think that with free agency on the horizon, I think they could have gotten more for him later on, or maybe even convinced him to stick around. Certainly would have had a better shot at some of them big free agents if he was on the roster. So I just don't love the trade that they made in regards to sending him to Dallas. But for him in Dallas playing with Luka, that's great. That's fantastic. That's an amazing start for him, fresh start for him, I should say. And from what I've seen from Luka Doncic, I don't think it's going to be too long before we see him making all-star teams every year. It's probably as soon as this season. I could see him being an all-star as early as this season, and he's probably not going to miss another one for probably another 10, 15 years. That's how great of a player I believe this dude to be. He's nothing minor, and he's nothing short of amazing, even as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old kid. So now that he has an adequate running mate, somebody who's 7 feet, who could stretch the floor, who could put the ball on the ground, I'd like to see Kristaps rebound better, which is why I'm so excited about him putting on muscle, because I think that's going to translate to him being able to bang with people, him being able to continue blocking shots like he always does. He's one of the best shot blockers out there. And it should really translate on the board. So that's what I'm super excited about for him. I would have loved for the Lakers to find a way to get him. I know he was going to be a little more expensive than what we wanted. Obviously, I'd rather have Anthony Davis. But prior to getting Anthony Davis, when we still had the kids, I thought Kristaps Porzingis would have been a wonderful consolation prize if we would have struck out completely in this free agency period and didn't make the trade for Anthony Davis. I felt like he and LeBron James could do so much damage. So, that's how I feel about Kristaps. I think that going forward, he's going to make a bunch of all-star teams himself. I think the one thing about him, though, it's just like I said, was rebounding. You know, when you look at his stats and you own him as a fantasy player, the thing that Kristaps didn't do as well as you needed him to do was that. And so if he's putting on muscle and it translates, boy, you're looking at a big time duo right there, 1-2 punch right there. So yeah, that's what I want to say, man. Dallas Maverick fans, be happy about your future. I think it's looking really, really positive right now in terms of those two and your ability to build from here. Luka's still on a rookie contract, so that means you might be able to pair him up with a third star over the next 2 years if you play your cards right. So yeah, it's a lot to like there, man. A lot to like there. They're still in the early stages. Like I said, I don't expect them to win more than 38 to 40 games. No playoffs this year. But going forward, oh yeah, you're going to have to deal with those two. You're going to definitely have to deal with those two. So yeah, that's what I got to say, man. Hope everybody's enjoying themselves. BDF 44 coming at you. Peace.